what it truly meant to be blue. I thought it was just a color, but it's you. Oh, I never felt getting truly punched below the belt. I thought I could stay solid, but I melt. In my head, I stare at all your words in bolded red. You promised me some sugar, gave me lead. Now I'm so tired, I'm so tired. But in my chest, my voice so loud, I can't give her a rest. I can't tell if I'm relieved or I'm stressed. I'm up all night, I'm up all night. Oh, I never knew what it truly meant to be blue. I thought it was just a color, but it's you. Oh, I never felt getting truly punched below the belt. I thought I could stay solid, but I melt. I don't know what's next. A Cinderella ending or wreck. But I'm prepared for the winding trek. I'm prepared to handle what I'm dealt. I thought I could stay solid, but I melt.
Good evening. I'm Ann Bean, Chief of Human Services in Cecil County and the President of the MCASA Board of Directors. Welcome to MCASA's annual legislative reception. Thank you for being here. By your presence, you show that ending sexual assault and helping victims heal after sexual trauma is important to you. The Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault was formed in 1982 when Rape Crisis Center directors came together to create a statewide voice for survivors and programs. Today, MCASA's core members include the 17 rape crisis centers that serve all of Maryland's jurisdictions. Other MCASA members include law enforcement, hospitals, colleges, mental health and healthcare providers, attorneys, educators, survivors of sexual violence, and other concerned individuals. Our mission is to help prevent sexual assault, advocate for accessible, compassionate care for survivors of sexual violence, and work to hold offenders accountable. One of MCASA's chief responsibilities is to advocate for strong public policies that support the mission set forth by MCASA. Many of you know our lobbyist and executive director, Lisa Jordan, and if you don't know her, I'll introduce her soon. While many of you know MCASA for its legislative advocacy, our agency is much more than just that. MCASA works to promote public awareness of sexual violence issues and provides training for professionals such as counselors, advocates, law enforcement, and medical personnel. During the pandemic, MCASA's amazing staff moved all trainings online, distributed public service announcements to TV and radio stations to ensure that survivors are aware of the services available, and facilitated countless Zoom meetings. MCASA's Sexual Assault Legal Institute, otherwise known as SALI, is a nationally recognized program that provides direct legal services for victims and survivors of sexual violence. SALI was recognized by then Vice President Biden at the 20-year anniversary of the Violence Against Women Act. SALI provides direct legal services to survivors of sexual assault each year, statewide, helping both adults and children. In fact, dedicated attorneys of SALI helped over 880 sexual assault survivors over the past 2 years. The newest major program is SACI, the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative, where MCASA is partnering with the Attorney General's Office, the Maryland State Police Crime Lab, the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, Youth and Victim Services to eliminate Maryland's backlog of untested rape kits. MCASA helps support and advocate for the survivors, the person behind each one of these kits. We are so glad to welcome you all here and appreciate your support for our work and for survivors. I'll turn things over to Lisa Jordan, our Executive Director and Counsel.
Sexual assault affects our entire community. Call 211 or visit MCASA.org to be connected. Rape is not your fault. When you want to talk, Maryland's Rape Crisis Centers are here to listen.
Welcome. It's so good to see everybody. I know so many of you are spending so much time on screens, so I appreciate your pleasant presence on Zoom tonight. I'm Lisa Jordan. I'm the Director and Counsel at the Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault. And I thank you, I thank MCASA's board and staff, and everyone who's doing amazing things in such challenging times. Thank you to our sponsors of tonight's event, including Public Policy Partners with Robin Elliott and Ann Seacott, and Strong Futures Maryland, led by the incomparable Alice Wilkerson. All three of these women are not only people who are advocating to end sexual violence, but they're good colleagues in Annapolis, and it really means a lot that they've chosen to support MCASA tonight. Their support makes a difference. Each of you make a difference. Last year in Annapolis, we worked together to help pass bills to protect survivor privacy. We ended policies that were designed to protect government instead of victims. We repealed sodomy as a crime. We helped trafficking victims improve their lives, and we increased transparency surrounding government grants for victims of crime. And then COVID. It ended session early, and it continues to challenge us here and at the rape crisis centers around the state. The passionate staff at the programs have been nothing short of remarkable. As Ann said, they've moved services online. They've helped clients facing multiple challenges. Many have turned their homes into offices, hearing rooms, classrooms. Some have become sick. We had a staff member whose family member died. But they have persevered and continued to fight to end sexual violence. And we're here to help honor their work and their mission. The pandemic also affects survivors themselves and perpetrators. Perpetrators are emboldened by the pandemic. They are using the pandemic to gain or renew access to victims, to intimidate survivors into silence, and to interfere with survivors' attempts to seek safety and to seek justice. Sexual assault survivors face increasing economics, instability, homelessness, job loss, mental health needs, amplified trauma, and isolation. The crisis is leading not only to an increase in the number of survivors we see asking for services, but an increase in the number of services that they need. And as you saw at one program, 183 survivors helped in December 2019, but in December 2020, 318 survivors, a difference of 135 survivors, December to December. That's the difference that COVID makes. So now, as we embark on this unusual legislative session, we're asking for all of your help. We're asking you to help ensure that the needs of sexual assault survivors are not forgotten. We're also taking the unusual step of dividing our priorities at MCASA into two parts. One now for 2021, and one maybe now, maybe 2022. We recognize the constraints of the year. We recognize the need to prioritize COVID. We also recognize the opportunity we have to really make progress, to correct racial inequities, to address racism in the criminal justice system. And tonight, some of our presentation will highlight many of the ways that sexual assault disproportionately affects Black and brown women. So this year, in 2021, here are our top two policy priorities. One, let's bring Maryland's law out of the dark ages. Let's repeal the law that makes marriage a defense to some sex crimes. We've already had hearings on this bill, and it was troubling in the Senate to hear some legislators believe that consent is an elusive concept and that marriage should be a substitute for consent. We ask that you help us reject this antiquated idea and instead give spouses the right to say no to any sexual activity that they choose to say no to. Give spouses the same rights that we give to unmarried couples. Second, help support police reform. Prohibit law enforcement from having sex with people who have asked for their help or who they're investigating. At the Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault and the Rape Crisis Centers around the state, we hear stories of women who are asking officers for help and protection only to be asked for sexual favors. And the people being sexually exploited often are Black and brown women, sex workers, and youth. People should be able to ask for help from an officer without fear of facing sexual conquest. Our other two priorities, unsurprisingly this year, involve funding. Legal services for sexual assault survivors are critical to their empowerment, to their long-term safety, and to economic independence. COVID has undercut the foundation of legal services funding by decimating the court filing fees and interest rates that have supported these services in the past. We're asking you to support funding for legal services. And remember that prior to the pandemic, 7,500 survivors received these services. The need's even greater now. It's the last time that we should allow our legal services safety net to fail. And of course, we ask you to continue to prevent cuts to rape crisis centers. You know, we thought we did this last session. We did. We thought we had a plan to make sure that VOCA, which is federal funding that comes to Maryland, would remain even and flat. But the Hogan administration found a way to cut 64% of victim services programs. So some remained flat, 64% were cut. This really needs more oversight, especially in light of the changes in Washington. Maryland has established and proven rape crisis centers, sexual assault programs, child advocacy centers, and domestic violence programs. We urge the General Assembly to insist on continued support for these established programs. All of this takes our collective efforts, and the work of MCASA involves many people. And now I get to introduce three of those amazing people. We're honoring three visionaries who have made a real difference: Nadja Cabello, Kathlene Hand, and Delegate Sandy Bartlett. First, let me introduce Nadja. Nadja Cabello is somebody I think of often, not only because she's a fabulous friend and colleague, but because she is one of the founding mothers of the Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault, and her name is on our Articles of Incorporation. Decades ago, she recognized the need to have a statewide collective voice for sexual assault programs and for the survivors that they serve. Nadja Cabello is a licensed clinical social worker with a master's degree from the University of Maryland. She has been the director of trauma services for two programs, both for the Victim Assistance and Sexual Assault Program, VASAP, and also for the Abused Persons Program. Both of these programs are part of Montgomery County. They're part of the Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services, and they're the comprehensive rape crisis and domestic violence programs. They offer services not only to survivors of rape and sexual assault, but also to survivors of domestic violence and other violent crimes. Nadja is responsible for the administrative and programmatic direction of the comprehensive programs. And I have to say, I really appreciate Nadja because she never fails to ask for advice about legislation, and she always holds us to task to make sure that we're doing what is best for survivors, from survivors' point of view, which may or may not involve the criminal justice system. Nadja has two beautiful children. She resides with her husband, Arnulfo, in Olney, Maryland, and it is my pleasure to present Nadja Cabello with an MCASA Visionary Award.
I want to thank MCASA for the great honor of bestowing me with this Visionary Award. Lisa mentioned that I go back to the times of the incorporation of MCASA. In the late 70s, I was at a crossroads. Should I follow the path of my degree in computer science and become a software programmer? My parents and friends thought this would be a good choice and more money. But I was paying for my own education and decided instead to volunteer for 1 year in 1980 at the local community crisis center for the rape crisis and domestic violence programs. At the end of that year, I decided to follow my heart and enrolled in the social work master's degree program instead. This coming March 12, 2021, I will count 37 years of working for Montgomery County government. And although the department has changed mission and names 3 times, I have stayed steady in my commitment and my passion to serve rape, sexual assault, domestic violence, and other crime victims. I go back to a time where I used to attend in Annapolis, the Women's Alliance of Maryland, and Karen Hart with fellow rape crisis directors and myself were establishing MCASA. I am so proud of the great advocacy organization for rape crisis programs that MCASA has evolved into, including the establishment of the Sexual Assault Legal Institute. Rape crisis programs in Maryland are very lucky to have such an esteemed institution under the direction of Lisa Jordan, looking out for the rights and services provided to rape and sexual assault victims. I also owe a big debt of gratitude to my family. Being the director of a local rape crisis domestic violence center comes with great commitment, unusual work hours, and lots of crises that happens and interferes with family life. Without my husband Arnulfo and his support making sure the children were picked up from school when I could not make it, or understanding my weird work hours to this day, this work would have been doubly difficult. My children have been very patient with me and how this work has impacted our family. I have the greatest 2 children that any mother could wish for. My son, Adriel, and my daughter, Nadja, who have grown up to be the most caring, supportive, and responsible adults. It would also have been impossible for me to receive this award if I could not count on the support of the great staff at VASAP and APP. I am so proud of their professionalism and expert caring services that all the staff deliver day in and out to rape, domestic violence, and other crime victims. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the staff has risen to the challenge as always, reinventing how we can continue delivering services to an unprecedented high number of victims who are seeking services from us. At one point, comparing our stats from 2019 to now to 20, our referrals had risen by 91%. Some of the staff are relatively new with us, but I do have staff that have been on this journey with me for decades. I have to give a shout out to Mona Cabrera, our Executive Administrative Aide, who has been with us for 20 years, and Anita Reddy, Principal Administrative Aide, with us for 21 years. We have a senior therapist, Ellen Wachter, who has been in this journey with me for 36 years, almost as long as my 37. We had an APP supervisor who retired last March, and she had been with the program for 39 years. And we have Dr. Rafia Prince, who has been our clinical supervisor for now 8 years. Frankly, I could not do what I do without their support. And since I'm receiving a visionary award, dare I dream for a minute. This definition of a visionary leader is a person thinking about or planning the future with imagination and wisdom. So my dream, my future endeavors, and my wish is for all of our jobs to become obsolete one day, because that will be the day that we have accomplished our mission of living in a society without violence, when men and women are treating each other with dignity and equality, and when there won't be a culture that permits violence against the vulnerable, violence against women and children. So on behalf of myself, an immigrant and a woman of color, on behalf of my family, and on behalf of the Trauma Services APP and VASAP staff, I am honored to humbly accept this MCASA 2021 Visionary Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadja. Kathlene Hand is our next 2021 Visionary Award recipient. Kathlene Hand is the Vice President and Commercial Lender at Sandy Spring Bank. She's an experienced banker who has worked with the financial services industry for over 25 years. She was previously Vice President, Commercial Lender at Revere Bank before the Sandy Spring Bank acquisition. And her primary focus has been lending to all types of businesses, including not-for-profit organizations. Now, it may seem odd to some of you that we are recognizing a banker, but we appreciate Kathlene Hand for what she recognizes in MCASA, and that is that we are a small business. We are a job creator. We added over a dozen employees over the past 10 years. We have payroll, rent, insurance, office supplies. We have to maintain cash flow. As a small business, we need a banker. As a nonprofit organization, we need a banker like Kathlene who understands nonprofits. So I'm going to tell you a secret. The federal government is better at administering grants than the state of Maryland. We regularly face delays in receiving grant dollars that we've been promised by the state. And we often pay our staff and then wait 3 or 4 months for MCASA to reimburse, or for the Maryland state to reimburse us. Imagine in your own situation if you paid stuff out and then you didn't get paid by your employer for 3 or 4 months. That's what the state of Maryland does to us. Kathlene Hand recognized our needs. She recognized that we have financial controls, we're competent financially, and she found the financial products that we needed. More than that, throughout the pandemic, Kathlene has been a key source of news about federal dollars, and she's provided information not only that MCASA could use, but that we could share with other nonprofit rape crisis centers. Kathlene's ability to identify and respond to the needs of MCASA as a small business, albeit a nonprofit one, helps support the needs of sexual assault survivors across the state of Maryland. And for these reasons, we present Kathlene Hand with an MCASA Visionary Award.
I am truly honored to have been selected to receive the Visionary Award from MCASA. To be recognized by one of my banking clients is very special. I have had the privilege of working with Lisa and Nyla at MCASA for over 4 years, and it has been rewarding to assist them with financing to manage their cash flow. I have been and continue to be impressed with the leadership of MCASA and with the board's management of their budget. Last year, as was mentioned, was a very challenging year for everyone, and we were all impacted in different ways. As a commercial lender at Sandy Spring Bank, most of our clients were struggling to cope with the difficult economy and find creative ways to keep their businesses from failing. It means a great deal to me that I was able to support MCASA from the application process to the receipt of what was called a payment protection loan from the SBA, which provided funding to cover payroll expenses through this challenging time. It is important to note that my ability to assist MCASA with their banking is in large part due to the bank or the support of the bank with which I work. The management of Sandy Spring Bank understands the banking needs of nonprofit organizations and is committed to working with them. The bank has a large client base of nonprofit organizations, and each year employees log thousands of hours as volunteers for a large group of diverse nonprofits that support the community in which we work and live. I humbly accept this award from MCASA. I look forward to having the privilege to continue to help further their mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathlene. So our last awardee this evening is Delegate Sandy Bartlett. Every year we honor outstanding Marylanders who have shown exemplary leadership and compassion in their work to end sexual violence in Maryland. And this often includes a legislator with a long history in Annapolis. Delegate Bartlett is a legislator, but a relatively new one, still serving her first term. Yet she's already been a leader in efforts to end sexual violence and to help survivors. She serves on the once infamous House Judiciary Committee and has helped enact laws to protect survivor privacy, expand access to sexual assault forensic exams, and prohibit law enforcement from asking survivors to sign away their rights to have their cases investigated. She's an active member of the Attorney General's Sexual Assault Evidence Funding and Policy Committee, and she recently co-chaired the COVID-19 Access to Justice Task Force on their Surviving Abuse, Neglect, and Exploitation Subcommittee. So a war story about Delegate Bartlett. Just last week, the House Judiciary Committee heard a bill to require police stations to offer a crime victim a private place to discuss their trauma when there was a crime against a person, including a crime like sexual assault. It's one of the many bills that we work on that make you wonder why this needs a law and why we're not already doing this. It's a pretty common sense thing. Delegate Bartlett immediately recognized that sexual assault survivors need more than a private place. They need a right to an advocate. And she asked the bill sponsor during the hearing to entertain a friendly amendment to address this, and she turned a good bill into a better one. Delegate Sandy Bartlett is a strong voice for sexual assault survivors in Annapolis, and MCASA looks forward to continuing to work with her to improve access to justice and end sexual violence for many years to come. Delegate Bartlett.
Thank you to everyone at MCASA. My. The immeasurable amount of hours you have clocked to help fight against sexual assault. I serve on the Judiciary Committee, as Lisa Jordan mentioned, where we hear the bills on criminal law and procedure. Advocates come before us at every bill hearing, and without fail, MCASA is available and thoroughly briefed on all the bills that could potentially harm or benefit sexual assault survivors. Lisa Jordan is a familiar face in our committee. I came to admire her work when I was a back row attendee at judiciary bill hearings long before I was a delegate. I could have sworn there was one time I saw a cape flowing behind her a few times after she shared her testimony. She definitely dropped the mic. I admired her ability to speak candidly about the perils sexual assault survivors face and what the state must do to help them. I admired her ability to come back time and time again, sometimes answering questions that to many would seem well known, because it was a matter of kindness and decency, just basic. Well, last year, privacy regarding sexual assault evidence kits became an issue I fought for, along with Senator Wallstreicher. Together, we passed a bill to increase the privacy of sexual assault victims when a forensic exam is conducted after a sexual assault. No more are narratives, photographs, drawings, etc., required for medical providers to receive reimbursement for the completion of a sexual assault forensic exam. I also fought for fairness with Senator Shelley Heddleman. We worked to get past a law right on almost the last day of our abbreviated session to prohibit any law enforcement agency from presenting victims of sexual assault with certain waiver forms. Lisa spoke to that. We wanted to make sure that victims, survivors, did not waive their essential rights, especially during such a traumatic time. To the medical providers, including and especially forensic nurses, advocates, rape crisis center workers, I thank you. I thank you for the work you do every day, and especially for the work you have been doing you have been doing during this pandemic. For we know sexual assault victims may very well be in lockdown with their perpetrators. They need your services now more than ever. I salute you. To my family, my wonderful husband, Scott, my beautiful daughters, Leslie and Shannon, I thank you. To my staff, Chief of Staff Mitzi Bernard, Intern Ryan Carrington, I thank you. I never thought I would be one of the awardees of the MCASA Visionary Award just for speaking my heart and advocating on behalf of sexual assault survivors. I will keep speaking my heart. I will keep praying for the end of sexual assault. I will continue to be a champion of rights for sexual assault survivors. I want Maryland to repeal the marriage as a defense law for sexual assault because no means no. It hasn't changed. MCASA, I look forward to working with you. Thank you for working with me.
El abuso sexual afecta a toda nuestra comunidad. Llama al 211 o visita mcasa.org para comunicarte. Cuando quieras hablar, los Centros de Crisis por Violación de Maryland estamos aquí para escucharte.
Thank you, Delegate Bartlett. There is no one in Annapolis who appreciates you more than I do, and I know so deeply the sacrifices that those of you who choose to run for office make, and the imposition on your families and your personal lives and your professional lives. And I thank you. I thank all of the advocates for against sexual violence who have run for office and serve there. You are tremendous, and you're the decision makers. So without you there, we could not make progress. So thank you. Thank you all for joining us tonight. MCASA's mission matters, and we need your donations to keep the voices of survivors centered in Annapolis. We again thank Strong Futures Maryland and public policy partners and all of our other sponsors for their support. And I'm just going to close with one more plea to please stay focused on the budget and on resources. Don't let them baffle you with fantasies about, oh, this is a problem or that's a problem. We need to have allocations for rape crisis centers so we can provide services. We need to have funding for legal services so they have the lawyers to enforce their rights. Please also don't let the pandemic deprive us of the opportunities at hand. End marriage as a defense for sex crimes and enact meaningful police reform. That includes prohibiting law enforcement from sexually exploiting people who should be able to trust them when they ask for help. Thank you all again for your support tonight. Stay safe, stay strong, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
In your eyes, I see the sparkle of that compromise. That here's a half I'll give you if you try. I never tried, I never tried. And in your hands, I see a long list of all your demands. Your voice is full of regret and commands. I never cried, I never cried. Oh, I never knew what it truly meant to be blue. I thought it was just a color, but it's you. Oh, I never felt getting truly punched below the belt. I thought I could stay solid, but I melt. In my head, I stare at all your words in bolded red. You promised me some sugar, gave me lead. Now I'm so tired, I'm so tired. In my chest, my voice so loud, I can't give her a rest. I can't tell if I'm relieved or I'm stressed. I'm up all night, I'm up all night. Oh, I never knew what it truly meant to be blue. I thought it was just a color, but it's you. Oh, I never felt getting truly punched below the belt. I thought I could stay solid, but I melt. I don't know what's next. A Cinderella ending or wreck. But I'm prepared for the winding trek. I'm prepared to handle what I'm dealt. I thought I could stay solid, but I melt.
You all were awesome. You're fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, aren't they fabulous? The staff at
Yes.
MCASA is fabulous. They did such
Yes, I love the song. I saw the artist's name at the bottom. The song was beautiful.
Yeah. We in the fall we solicited some survivor art for a college-related program, and so that was one of the things that came in, and she was kind enough to let us use it again. But all of the artwork is from survivors, and the music from survivors, except for kind of the standard stuff you heard with the awards. But
very nicely.
But you all were fabulous. I hope you had some fun, and I'm really thrilled to be able to recognize you. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All righty. Well, I'm going to go and shut it down for the evening.
Me too. It's time to have a glass of wine. It's my last big event because, well, Sandy, you and JPR got my big bills pretty much out of the way. So now I'm down to legal services and money.
Okay, good. Hey.
So I just need y'all to start some voting. So vote.
Well, you know, we're going to, the back room is starting tomorrow.
Excellent.
So
excellent.
Hopefully.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will be in touch then, especially about Delegate Williams' bill on police, because we had some things happen over in JPR, and I think there are going to be some tweaks which should resolve concerns.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm not the year for it, but we're going to do it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, you all.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kathlene. It was so good to recognize you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, and fabulous MCASA staff, you made it through. Yes.
Yay.
Timing was great. It worked really well.
Yeah, it's 6:48, and that's with the chit chat afterwards. So yeah, really, really good. Yeah, and my iPad still doesn't let me mute or unmute myself. So whoever fixed that, thank you. I think Ariana saved me there.
Yeah. Great.
All right. Should we say hi to Judy and Jessica, or were they in before?
I think that they stepped away. I don't know. I don't know them. We can let them back in, but I don't know that they're actually
I'm
at
going to
their
say
computers.
hi. Oh, I can't say hi. Oh, yeah.
You want me to admit them? Oh, you got it.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Hey, Judy. Hey, Jess.
Oh, hey. Good job, Lisa.
Thank you. We saw you two in the waiting room. They were like, do you know these people? I was like, oh, I know these people.
I'm sorry. I just didn't log off. I had you minimized and then I didn't log off. So I will do that now so you guys can carry on. So great job tonight,
thank
everyone.
You for coming. Yeah.
All right, I'll
thanks
see
for all
you.
you're doing with that law.
Yep, I'll see you Thursday night.
I will see you Thursday night.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty. All right, Judy, are you in the same spot? You just forgot about us? Could be. All right. I think we're done.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Great job.
Yeah, great job. Really, really fabulous. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great work, everyone.
We're through. Yay!
Bye. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.